Hi everybody, I am Eleni and together we'll be transferred to the 14th century and the glorious Czech city of Kutná Hora. As the book suggests, Kutná Hora is the city of silver and it is a heavy euro, and also it is a prototype, so some of the art and components might be a bit different in the final version of the game. So Kutná Hora, the City of Silver, is a historical city-building Eurogame for 2 to 4 players that features a real-life supply and demand experience in which everything you do has an impact on the game's dynamic economy. In the game, players try to build infrastructure on a shared board of buildings and mines, and you start the game with a clean board, just like the real Kutná Hora city that was built from scratch on empty fields. Each player has 6 double-sided action cards, and they will be using 5 of them in the course of one round, choosing 2 actions for each of the first 2 turns and a single action for the last turn. We'll see these actions in action in a bit. The game uses several different resources, but all of them are always converted to money. So you pay coins for everything you do in the game, but the amount depends on how much the particular resource is worth at the moment. Which brings us to perhaps the coolest thing in Kutná Hora, the cardboard computers. 2 sets of cardboard computers are used to track various resources tied to the game's 6 guilds, which allows for more layers of economic systems to be in play at the same time. And this ties in with the guilds and the asymmetry they provide. Each player controls 3 out of 6 guilds, and each guild has their own type of buildings that, when built, they influence one very important aspect of the game. Like, for example, the builders control the price of wood, which is very powerful as essentially everything in the game is built from wood. Or like the grocers and innkeepers influence food and beer, so that means they have a strong impact on the population growth, where bringing more people into the city increases the demand for certain resources. So essentially, when multiple buildings of the same type are built, then the market is flooded with a particular resource and the price of that resource will go down, which can help or hinder others depending on their circumstances. However, as more people come to inhabit the city, then the population grows and the price of that devalued resource will slowly rise back up. So things are always in flux. Each guild feels very different, not only because of their immediate impact on the game systems, but also thanks to their mutual synergies, influencing the way the city is shaped, how they can support different strategies, and so on. The base game will have a recommended setup of guilds, but you will discover the real beauty of the game by trying out various guild combinations and experimenting with their placement on the 3 rows where each supports a different strategy. And now the actions. The rights and plot actions need to happen before the build action, as you first need to acquire rights for a building, and you also need to buy a plot of land, usually next to an already constructed building, before you can build that building on the plot. Buildings increase your production of a particular resource and decrease its price at the same time. Once you resolve all the building's effects, you mark the building with your house token from its guild's row, which helps you unlock various bonuses on your player board. Public buildings, on the other hand, can be constructed by anyone, independently of their guild association, and the main difference is that they don't belong to a specific player. They still bring a lot of cool benefits to the player who constructs them, but probably their most important role lies in bringing important councillors to the city, who can be later appointed to the city council, where they have a strong game-shaping impact on what game aspects will be scored for all the players. So it's very important to pay attention to what councillors are likely to get in the game. With the mine action, you build a mine, which often increases your production of the silver ore, and it also lets you participate in the mine scoring at the end of the game. The St. Barbara action allows you to build the next part of the stunning cathedral and gain a reward associated with a particular tile. Last but not least, for the income action, you calculate the value of your production and you take the corresponding amount of money. You can then spend a part of your income to affect the scoring priorities by appointing one of the available councillors. There are several things that are being scored at the end of the game, like your presence on the mines, your income, your reputation. But one important aspect that we haven't mentioned is scoring for each neighboring mark matching a mark on your building. After all, building and investing more in one neighborhood might help others as well as yourself, but being in a big and glorious city like Kutná Hora, you have to learn to adjust and get the best out of a situation. So what should you expect in a game of Kutná Hora? First of all, that no two games will be the same, and also a highly interactive experience, as everything you do in the game pushes the city's development in a certain direction and will affect everyone else in some way. The game will be released in SPIEL 2023, and you can get more updates and news about it by subscribing to the games page on BGG, and also subscribing to our channel can be very helpful and super welcome, as we have loads of other content you might like this video right here.